I'm Megan Spurline, news editor at the Vidette, the student voice of Illinois State University, and a reporter for WGLT. Welcome to Democracy's Future, a joint project between the Vidette and WGLT News. We hear from the students who will help chart the future of our democracy. On this episode of Democracy's Future, we talk with two students who are involved in ISU's Center for Civic Engagement. The group offers many volunteer and service opportunities. One of those is directly tied to democracy. The group hosts voter information events and publishes an online voter guide. It helps students learn how to register to vote, learn about the candidates, and even learn the basics about how elections work. Vidette reporter Mia Saras talks with two students heavily involved with the center. Allie High is a senior political science major from Bloomington. She's an elections intern with the Center for Civic Engagement. And Krem Tazdan is a poli-sci and economics double major from Macomb in Western Illinois. He's support staff for the center. They explain what first got them turned on to politics and government, starting with Allie High.
When I came to ISU, I was a cybersecurity major. I was passionate about technology and how it impacts people and how it can benefit all of us. And I had the privilege of doing research on the benefits of AI technology and things of that nature. And it really got me focused on how this technology can be a bridge to increase access to resources for people, share information more broadly. Really, it has its risks, of course, but it really can be in the right way used as a force of good. And so I pretty much shifted my focus in that respect to policy and, community engagement sort of efforts and interests. And so that's how I ended up at the center.
Yeah, for me, I always grew up loving history. I would be like the kid in class, like all the way through high school, like always trying to read like the history books. And it was awesome because they would never be checked out. So I always had first pick. And the coolest part to me about history is then how that plays into our modern day political climate and our modern day world. So as much as I still love history, I knew that when it came time to pick a plan of study for attending Illinois State, that I did want to choose political science and specifically learn about, initially it was the interest of how governments interact, right? So that was sort of the interest I had throughout history. How do countries interact with war, peace, trade, all that. But really to me, what it all boiled down to for me as a major in political science is not just how countries or governments or political actors interact, but how do people interact?
And could you talk some about the mission of the center?
Yeah, so the mission of the Center for Civic Engagement aligns directly with the university's core value of civic engagement. Civic engagement can take many forms, service learning, philanthropy, voting. These are just a couple of the facets under the very large umbrella of civic engagement. And these are all activities that students participate in every single day, whether it's through their coursework, extracurricular involvement, personal endeavors. So I think something unique about the center in particular is how it encourages interdisciplinary engagement and connections between campus groups, departments, and community partners, because there are many ways to get involved.
Yeah, I really like, and I guess it, at the same time be quite daunting of just how broad the ways that we could be civically engaged are. And I say daunting in the sense of it's more so there's so much to it in terms of it's not just, I guess, what most people might even assume civic engagement is, volunteering or volunteering action of some form. I think to me it could also be, somebody once said it's anything you do outside of your 9-to-5 job, which I guess for us as students is mostly classes, but whether it's you go out to like a speaker series where like there's a local like community leader or action leader speaking on issues and you ask them about ways to tackle these issues, or pick up a piece of trash you see on the street as you're walking by on your way to class. I think it could be anything so seemingly little and yet so seemingly large that at least to me I think it's a little daunting in the sense of there's so much you can do to make a difference.
Why is it important for students to engage with the center?
There are many connections to be made whether it's through volunteering, attending one of the events, volunteering on election day to run one of the greeter stations, whether, all students of every program, every skill set, every interest, they all can find something that they feel like benefits them, teaches them something, gets them involved in their community. There's something for everyone. And it's just a little building right across from Watterson that, but they do really great work in our community, and they facilitate some great connections within the community between campus and, the town of Normal, the city of Bloomington, McLean County. And so I think it's just important to check it out, even if you're not sure what you want to do or how you can get involved. Their website has some great information, and also has events that they can attend.
Yeah, I just think the center is a whole lot of fun. The people are pretty amazing, and like Ali mentioned, it's quite diverse in its array of people of different majors, different backgrounds, who are doing different types of work, whether it's more socially involved work or volunteering, or more politically, like voter related. So it is really cool to see just so much overlap in one building, quite frankly. And I was even in Chicago like 3 weeks ago, doing like a grad school visit, and somebody recognized like one of our specific staff from the Center for Civic Engagement when we were talking about it. I was like, wow, that's pretty amazing.
How does the center's mission help uphold democracy?
I would say that civic engagement and voting efforts in particular are the foundation of our democratic process. And so providing that information to students and eligible voters is key to upholding these processes that we hold so dearly and strengthening them over time. Who knows what the future holds, but I think we all have a stake, and we all can be engaged at a local, state, or federal level. And so it's just about promoting these ideas and sharing these thoughts with each other, and ultimately encouraging these initiatives so that they benefit all of us going forward.
Yeah, so I'm even, as part of my last semester here, taking a civic engagement course. I'm not a part of the civic engagement and responsibility minor, but I just thought the course was really interesting. And one of the readings that was recently assigned to us was called Bowling Alone. Now, just based off the title initially, I thought, okay, well, bowling, I can even get like a spare or a strike every time I go out bowling. But then upon actually reading the book, it did go into a lot of how, unfortunately, in American society, the trend has shifted away from going to a local, a community meeting to discuss like an issue, whether it's at the neighborhood level or at the city level. There's unfortunately been that sort of decline of that sort of involvement. And I think the Center for Civic Engagement is the ultimate counter to not caring about important issues, I guess you could say. So I think the work that they do at the center really just pushes us to care about not just issues that might impact us locally or at the national level, but that might impact others, and create a form of dialogue to try and fix those issues.
What do you think primary barriers are preventing student voters specifically from engaging in the upcoming election or any elections in general?
So voter restoration is also in the Redbird Voter Guide, and it does provide resources to that, because we do understand that there have been historical barriers. There continue to be. So our goal is to bridge those gaps, as Karen mentioned, and help increase access to be able to get students out to vote. So I will say Illinois is a same-day registration state, and that does help a lot with being able to get those last-minute voters who may not have made a plan prior, but still would like to participate in that way. Not every state has that capability, and so I think that's a really important way that Illinois in particular increases accessibility to voting.
Yeah, I would say in general, with all things considered, ISU and Illinois as a whole, as Ali mentioned, does a pretty good job of trying to alleviate some of the natural difficulties, I feel, when it comes to voting. So whether that's having the day off of class in the case of the last 2022 election, that was very, very helpful that we saw in getting students out there to vote. They knew that the Bone Student Center was there as a polling place. they had the day off of class, they knew why they had the day off of class. So I think there are still issues, even just, nationally, statewide of, it's not a federal holiday when it comes to election day. So folks might not have the day off of work the same way they might have the day off of class. So there's still barriers to overcome. Like Ali mentioned, the restorative justice, even in a different class, we were doing research on voting rights for felons, and there's just so much that, quite frankly, goes into it, and that differs so much on state to state and across the country. That is both concerning and also interesting to look into.
What questions and concerns are you hearing from students about the election, and how do we go about addressing them?
I think one of my biggest goals going forward into the November general election is stressing the importance of the local races as much as the national races. These elections will be politically fraught, and we are mindful of that. But these representatives that we have the opportunity to vote in at the local level direct county funding. They support the social services we have in our community. And so getting students aware of these more nuanced that may not have as much attention as the more public races are is something that I will work hard to share with the students. And I think that is something that will come up and is important to address. As far as more election structure things, I would say that the residency part is something that comes up pretty frequently. We do have a lot of students that are either registered in another county or have never registered in McLean County during their time here at ISU. And we, to the best of our ability, try to get that information to these individuals so they can register to vote regardless of whether they need to register in McLean County or vote back home.
For me, what I've noticed from a lot of students is trying to figure out where to direct, what avenue to direct any form of very strong disagreements or agreements with policy or change that they want. Voting is obviously a thing that we always, emphasize at the center. Alongside that, it is also issues of voter education, right? Learning more about the candidates and actually going to events where they might be present and, like a town hall, for example, and ask them the real questions. I think those are the sorts of things that we can do to try and help maybe alleviate some of the concerns of that many students understand we have of, well, I experience these issues every day. These are the challenges that I face as a citizen or as a non-citizen. Where do I sort of direct that? Voting is definitely one of them, and we want to try our best to make sure that is a feasible, very clear avenue that students who are eligible to vote can take. But also at the same time, emphasizing there's so much more you can do alongside voting, whether it's, again, attending more local community events and actually speaking with those who do make those policy changes, or getting together with other students and discussing those issues as well. I think really just trying to direct those issues towards some direction.
That was ISU students Karem Tazdan and Ali Hai speaking with Vidette reporter Mia Saras. We still have several more episodes of Democracy's Future in the coming weeks. Hear from students who are already getting a lesson in democracy by serving in student government. Also hear where students get their news and how that can shape their views about democracy and politics. Our thanks to audio producers Ryan Toohey and Ariel Jones, WGLT Digital Content Director Ryan Denham, and WGLT News Director Eric Stock. Please give us your feedback on this series and let us know if there are certain issues you'd like us to explore. Email us at news@wglt.org. Subscribe to Democracy's Future on the NPR app or wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, I'm Megan Spurline. Thank you for listening.